Ladies and gentlemen, you might as well get ready. Woo! I need to put some Ric Flair music with this. I really do. When the smoke start coming through like this, I need to put some Ric Flair music. Like, y'all know how I feel about that. What's going on? Welcome everybody once again to the one and the only, the big time show that is being seen and heard really on 3 stations this time. And I don't know why, because I didn't hook up the other channels, but so be it. I'm on the Big Time Show YouTube channel and Big Time Show Facebook channel, and I am on Twitter right now. So those are the 3. Could have had more, but forgive me, I didn't put it on the right channels. So since I didn't put it on the right channels, and of course I'm sharing this with other groups, you can help me out real quick before we get started and share with the other groups that you know, or share it on your channel if you so see fit. You can share it there, and let's go ahead and do what we do, of course, and that is let's get ready to talk some Cowboy football as we slowly but surely get ourselves closer and closer to training camp. The real deal. Getting closer and closer and closer and closer. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to this year. I'm hooked on the excitement and hype this year. I ain't say I was going to respond to it, but I said I've told you guys this, and I'll say it again. I like what they have done. I like the coaching hire. I like the coaches that Coach Schottenheimer hired. I like what Jerry and Steven and whoever else was involved in hiring Coach Schottenheimer. Could things be better in the draft? Oh, you can always go back in hindsight and say, yeah, we should have took this guy here, took that guy there, and all that type of stuff. But overall, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I believe that we have done well this offseason. It's rare, and you know, if you've been a Cowboy fan for a while, you might as well, just tell the truth. It's rare when there's more, as far as signings, as far as signings, free agent signings. We always, we do pretty good in the draft. Coaching hires, all that type of stuff. It's rare when I think there are more positives than negatives. And I think that this offseason, it has produced a pretty good offseason. When you look at all what they've done, I think it's more positive than negative. That's me. You may not think so. That's your interpretation. I don't have no problem with it at all, because everybody sees things differently. But for me, I like it so much that I'm excited about this season, to the point where I'm saying I can't wait. I'm ready to play. I'm ready to play football right now. Even we are lacking, at least in my opinion, in some areas, I'm still ready to play football now. I think so. I don't know how y'all feel, but that's up to you. I have no issue, no qualms about it. I'm almost about ready to go. And there's still time, of course, for things to get done, just in case you don't feel like it's right or they're ready to go. Just keep in mind, Cowboys and us, we all think a little bit different. What you think is a problem, they think it's a solution. Please keep that in mind. That will cut down on your frustration. That will cut down on your frustration if you just I know what you want. I know you're GM on the couch. I get that. But let's just keep in mind that the Cowboys don't think like the fan base do. If you can get that locked in, you can your days will be better. Let me just put it that way. Listen, I hope that for all of you that came in, I hope you hit that like button, smash it about 20 times for me on Facebook, on YouTube. Double tap that screen, give me about 20 likes a piece, and I greatly appreciate that. If you feel like you want to contribute, in a monetary way, you can use those stars on the Big Time Show Facebook page if you're there. You can also hit on Cash App that super chat button there. You can use that. When you do that super chat, I'll be able to you'll see it highlighted here, and I'll read your super chat. I figure, as I always say, that if you whatever you give, or you don't have to, but if you do, the least I can do is read your comment in appreciation for the patronization of the show. Also, if you want to use the Cash App, it's very simple. $ the Big Time Show. $ the Big Time Show. That's how you get that done. All right. Let me speak to everybody, then we'll get going. Go ahead and share, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see here. Georgia things. I don't know. Hello. Okay. Nick Gers, she says her son has cancer. She wants her son's name shout out. Okay, we're praying for Nick Gers, for Nick. Praying that God will heal. He is a healer, without a doubt. There's too much evidence walking around this earth that proves that he is a healer. So your son is a candidate for healing. God can do it. So we're praying for him. Matter of fact, everybody do that now. His name is Nick. Let's do that very quickly. Thank you, God, for Nick. Thank you for his life. No matter the disease that he has, you can handle it. You handled it so many times for so many others. We ask now that you do that for Nick. In Jesus' name, amen. There you go. Joe, what's up? Miss Verdi, how you doing? V, what's up? Tommy, yes, sir. Mr. Lee Harrison, how you doing? My auntie's in here. Hey, Auntie Evelyn. Auntie Evelyn is in the building. William, all right. Tamika, how you doing? Hallelujah. Wow. Great name, man. Hallelujah. Okay. Appreciate you, Ms. Verdi, again. All right, let's talk real quick. And let's see what's going on. Let's see what happens here. All right. Despite my excitement level for the team, I'm going to be highlighting some of this stuff piece by piece until we get there, because although I'm excited, that doesn't necessarily mean that there aren't question marks. I got some question marks. I talked about it last show in one area, but today I want to highlight another area. I talked about the defense. What's up, Terry? I want to talk about, I talked about the defense yesterday. Am I on yesterday? Whatever it was. I want to talk about offense now, just two spots, as you saw in my title. And I think that if everyone was to be honest about the situation, we say things optimistically, but it's almost like you're saying something, and then you're saying something, but you got your fingers crossed at the same time. And I feel like that when we started talking about the offensive line, although we are excited about the possibility of domination, but we don't attribute that word, the domination, to Tyler Guyton and Terrance Steele. When we start talking about dominant offensive line, we're really thinking about three people. Let's just be honest. We're thinking about Tyler Smith, we're thinking about BB, and then Tyler Booker, our new right guard, who should be our starter. That's who we're thinking about. We're not necessarily thinking about Terrance, Steele, and Tyler Guyton, and for probably a good reason. Because of what we saw on tape last year, whether that is because of injury, playing with injury, or in Tyler Guyton's case, just being a rookie who had to learn some growing pains, or in Terrance Steele's case, the question about him was, is his knee right? Is he really back? Although he had it 2 years ago, there was some decline, if you want to say that. But the question is it because the knee is not right? Or number two, as with all ACLs, some guys just lose something. When they come back, they're not the same. Terrance Steele could be one of those guys. It's kind of remind you of Michael Gallup. When Michael Gallup came back, he was not the same to the point where he retired. Now he's coming back now, but it was to the point where he retired, and it was obvious that he had lost something. He had the same injury, an ACL injury. So the question mark, if any, to me, is when we start talking about the offensive line, well, is Tyler Guyton better? Is Terrance Steele better? And I don't think nobody can really say. I know we hope they are. Of course, we hope they are. But let me just go on, skip over the field real quick and just say this. If Tyler Guyton, I just stick with him. If Tyler Guyton is not better in his second year, and I ain't talking about, see, if you're talking about a dominant, everybody want to say Cowboys going to have a top O-line, top 5 O-line this year and all that. Let me tell you something. If that is to happen, we can't say Tyler Guyton is just barely a step above better than what he was last year. No. If you're talking about a dominant offensive line, he's going to have to be, I don't want to say significantly, but he's going to have to take it up a few notches in order for this line to be considered dominant. So that's all I've been hearing. When you say top 5 offensive line, you're talking about, one of the best lines in the game. In other words, dominant. Tyler Guyton doesn't have any room. We don't have room for hoping now. When you put this type of offense together, from the quarterback position all the way down to the line and everybody in between, you can't afford a bunch of experimenting. You can't. You ain't feeling hype about that. I don't know what Tyler Guyton gonna bring. I would, if I was betting man, I would say Tyler Guyton is going to be better. But the question is, how much better? Because if he's not, we talking, if he's the problem, he's going to get exposed. Terrance Steele. Everybody knows that Terrance Steele is a dominant run blocking tackle. Everybody knows that. Oh, he will maul you. He will drive you back 10 yards. He's mean. Everybody knows that. The problem with us was he spent the majority of his time pass blocking. And he is not the same guy as he is when he's run blocking. He was a little slow when you start talking about some of these fast defensive ends. You got some holding calls, obviously. Got some pre-snap penalties, jumping a little bit too early because of what he was dealing with. And just in case you haven't noticed, um, when we start talking about the teams that we're playing, I can line up every team that we're playing, and every um, defensive end just about on that we're playing is a problem. Okay, y'all, let me start it up. And that was Terrance Hill. Now, if it's his knee, then I get it. But if it is his knee by now, then we may need to start looking, for some help. And in a few minutes, I'm gonna say something about that as far as help goes. I'm looking at the Eagles. We got Smith that we got to deal with on that end. The Eagles have the other kid that's pretty good. Then they got inside rush as well. But outside, there's there. The Giants is going to be a problem. They're going to switch it out on us. If he's not right and the Tyler Guyton is not right, now you got to deal with Thibodeau and Abdul Carter. That's week 2. And like I said before, Abdul Carter is the guy that I wanted in the draft. Y'all was hollering about, I conceded, but if I had a dream guy that I wanted Abdul Carter, the defensive end / linebacker from Penn State. That's who I wanted. But this is what the Cowboys got to deal with now. Thibodeau, Carter, Chicago Bears. I don't know who they have as their edge. I would have known it if I would have thought about it. I'm not trying to discredit them. I just don't know. Green Bay always has a pretty good, solid defense. Rashad Gary is one of those guys. The Jets, I guarantee you. You say Brian Burns exactly. When we start talking about the Jets, I'm going to give the Jets a pass just because of who their head coach is. Trust me, Aaron Glenn will have the New York Giants. The Jets. I'm sorry. He will have the Jets defense humming. Maybe a couple years from now, but he gonna have that. They gonna be ready to play. Carolina, they lost some people. I don't know who they have on defense. Just off the top of my head, I'm not a Carolina Panther podcaster, but I'm not, so I don't know about that. Washington will have edge rushers. They already have some. They lost Dante Fowler to us, but they still got Dorrance Armstrong. They still got, forgive me for that other kid that they had over there, and then Dan Quinn, of course. With his scheme is going to get pass rush anyway. We ought to know that by now just by what he did for us. So that's going to be a problem. The Broncos, problem. They had one of the top defenses in the league. No question about it. We're talking about, and they're going to get better. The Cardinals, a lot of these guys, I don't even know. So I ain't no sense in me lying about it. I don't know. The Raiders, after the bye week, that's Max Crosby lane. Max Crosby. Max Crosby is a problem for an all-pro tackle. You understand me? Max Crosby beats all pro tackles. Max Crosby is one of the best in the game. Top 2, top 3, whichever one you want to count. If you say Myles Garrett, if you like Myles Garrett, number 1. If you like Hutchinson from Detroit, if you like, Crosby has got to be right up there. If you consider Parsons better than Crosby, so be it. But Parsons' name is right there. Philly, I don't have to say we already played that. Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City, Mr. Jones in the middle, it gives problems by himself. But because he's a dominant defensive tackle, you got guys that can really get to the pass rusher because they got one-on-one from Kansas City as well. I'm just trying to tell you, if Guyton and Terrance Steele not right, this is what they're going up against. The Lions, I'm not sure of where Hutchinson is. He tore his ACL last year. I don't know where he is. I don't know. So I can't say that, but if he's there, it's a problem. The Vikings always play good, solid team defense. They're pretty good. The Chargers as well. Khalil Mack is still there. Another guy, I forgot his name, forgive me, but he's still there. Mack still is causing serious problems. Even at his age, he still can get the job done. And then, of course, we got Washington and the Giants after that. Just based off the schedule alone, y'all, you would have to say that um, that the tackle position this year will either get exposed in a bad way or we're gonna handle some people. And I got to admit to you, I just don't know. Again, I will have to see where, and unfortunately, and that's another whole thing. I'm gonna bring that up in a minute. Like, no, because I'm gonna forget. I usually say this. I usually say that the Cowboys are not gonna play their guys in the preseason. But I got to admit, last few years they didn't play one down in the preseason, not one. But in order to get ready for Philadelphia, I think they need to play in the preseason. I ain't talking about no half or nothing like that. They need to go, they need to go old school with preseason. The first game, the first starters will get one series. Y'all remember that? One series. And you build this thing to maybe the last preseason game, which they call the dress rehearsal game, and they would play a whole half. I'm not saying we need to play a whole half, but I do think that these guys need to get their feet wet early. I don't think they need to sit out. I've been thinking about that lately, and I understand it's Dak, and you don't want to lose nobody in the preseason, but that's football. You know what I'm saying? I believe, and it does not have to be Dak. I think Dak gonna be ready. Dak doesn't need it. Dak really does not need it. I believe that Coach Schottenheimer is gonna call a inner scrimmage game with another team like we did last year with the Rams and stuff like that. And that'll be live bullets, but of course your quarterback won't get hit. I'm just saying. But that's enough intensity level, what they'll get. Then our defense will give Dak problems as well. This season. He just won't get hit. But I think that they need to play. So you want Pickens, Lamb, Ferguson. You want them to come out the gate swinging. We ain't got time for no warm up. Our schedule demands that we don't have time to wait. We gotta, if we gonna do something this year, we ain't got time to warm up. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Like, we'll be ready by week 3. No. We got to come out swinging. We're going to get embarrassed. See what I'm saying? We need to, and usually that, if this was Mike McCarthy, I would be saying, well, we ain't going to know none of this until week 1, because that's when everybody going to play. And that's where it always have been. Cowboys in the last 2 to 3, ever since Mike McCarthy been here, Mike McCarthy was not letting the guys play at all in the preseason. Not one play. Not one play. I'm not saying we came out with a slow start, because we didn't. And that system, I ain't gonna say it wasn't. I mean, we went 12-5, 3 straight years. So you can't say we didn't come out, ready to go. And they just had to play. No, they didn't have to play. They came out smoking. I'm gonna be fair to the team. But when you got a new offense, maybe not a whole lot more change, but you got a new play call. When you're talking about the plays coming in at the right speed, when Coach Schottenheimer is talking to Dak in his helmet, you need to practice this stuff. I know you're gonna practice it, in Oxnard. I'm talking about this thing need to be a well-oiled machine, even in the preseason game. See what I'm saying? So I think that, whether it's one quarter, starting out, you might go 2 quarters, not one quarter, one series, the next, the first game, because they're not gonna play that. They're not gonna play a whole lot. I just want them to get their feet where they go hit somebody. If it's a 3 and out, guess what? Come around back out there. We got to put some plays together. Get you 2 series. Try to get some type of rhythm. After 2 series, you ain't got nothing going, you're going to sit down. Second preseason game. I don't know how many we have this year. But by the time we get to that last preseason game, they're not going to play anyway because, it's after the preseason, the last preseason game, it's the cut down. So 90 players down to the 52. That's a lot of players to cut. So those guys that are really fighting for jobs are the ones that's going to play it in. So I was thinking about that earlier. I really was thinking about that. And I'm thinking like, come on now. These guys need to play. We got to get the rhythm going. Seriously, that would, if Coach Schottenheimer may think quite different than me. And he might take the Mike McCarthy approach. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying because of all the newness that's there, I believe that we need to get some preseason work done this season. Keep it going. Keep the physicality going. Since they want to be physical and all that type of stuff, let's keep the physicality going. Y'all understand what I'm saying on that? That I think that, I know some of them are old or whatever, but hey, man, forget all that. It's football. It's time to go to work. It's time to go to work. So I believe that would need to be done. Now, let me go back to what I was saying earlier. When you hear all those edge rushers, you hear about those edge rushers, I think that it's common sense what need to happen. You had better have stuff together. I'm just saying. If Tyler Guyton and Terrance Steele are only just a fraction above what they are projecting, from last year, that ain't gonna be good enough. Now, if you want to say we have an okay offensive line, then they can be a fraction. But all this talk about being a top 5 O-line, somebody got to be dominant other than the guys that we already know gonna do good. I have no questions about Tyler Smith. I really have no questions about BB. I don't. And I know he ain't played a down yet. But I don't have no problem with Tyler Booker. I believe Booker's gonna be dominant. I do. And it may not be dominant off the start, because look who he's going against the first game of the year. Going against big boy, Jordan Davis, and those guys against Philadelphia. I mean, those guys are legit guys. I don't think he's gonna win every battle, but I think he's gonna hold his own. And as the year goes with Tyler Booker, I think Booker by week 5 or 6, oh man, it's gonna be lights out with him. I believe that now. And when you think about that, when it comes to Tyler Guyton and then Terrance Steele, most people don't have that same conviction when it comes to them. And those are the two. They got to take it up 2 or 3 notches in order for this O-line to be what people have said. See what I'm saying? That's the part that I'm worried about. So then my question is this, and I don't know, and the Cowboys are going to say something, totally positive, whether they tell the truth or not. The question is Terrance Steele still having problems with his knee. That's one. Then number two, if he's not having problems with his knee, has he just lost some of it? That's my only question. If he's not right, but after the knee surgery, and this is the best that we're going to see from him, then we need to be in the business of starting to look for another right tackle, because that's not going to get it done. It's not. We've seen it. We saw it last year. We saw bits and pieces of it last year when they rushed them back to play. That's not going to get it done. It's not. And I ain't going to be no homer today. I'm just going to call it. We called out Terrance Steele all last year. We definitely called him out the year before. They brushed him back. He wasn't ready to play. But he got out there. He got embarrassed. Couldn't move. Didn't have the fluidness to be a right tackle. Got beat all the time off the edge. I mean, he wasn't right. It got better, a little bit better last year, but it still was some major problems. They ain't counting, the holding penalties and pre-snap penalties and all that type of stuff. So all I know is that ain't gonna cut it. It's not. So he has to be better. Tyler Guyton, on the other hand, hey, he's a rookie. He's a rookie. And unfortunately for Cowboy fans, we've been so spoiled by offensive linemen becoming the man so early that even our rookies turned into Pro Bowl players, and, borderline Pro Bowl players, and then, first about a third year, they all pros. So we've been spoiled by this. That we've been so spoiled that when we get a guy in who actually struggles a little bit, first thing we want to say is he's trash and he's sorry. No, he's not. Tyler Guyton ain't trash. He just was a rookie who didn't turn into a Pro Bowl player his first year. Hello, he'll get better. I believe that. That's what the Cowboy fan problem is. As soon as we draft an old line, great tip of the cap to Will McClay and Jerry and Steven. They usually pick guys off the offensive line who within 3 years are all pros. That's outstanding. You see what I'm saying? William, beautiful comment. That's if it's needed though. I'm coming from, William says he best shot it goes to a 12 formation. 12-man formation to help out the tackles. That's if it's needed. I'm not saying we're going to be trash. I'm just saying Tyler Guyton and Terrance Steele cannot play the way they played last year and expect this offensive line to be really good as a unit, that is. We can have individual guys who going to shine, like what they always do, but that ain't, I'm talking about a unit, being ranked together. It's like Philadelphia. They have the best offensive line in football. If you want to be in that category, everybody got to be kicking butt and taking names. It really is just that simple. So when I talk about the other kid, Tyler and Terrance Steele together, I mean, I got to see it. Now, here's the other part. Because if some of you saying we need to get another right tackle, you're right, big time. Terrance Steele scares me, and he ain't got much room for me. I get what you're saying. I understand. Some of you may be saying, well, Tyler Guyton, I don't see it. I don't see him being real good. I don't see it. Okay. Then here's my question. The tackles don't grow on trees, and all the good ones are already locked up. I don't care who gets cut from whatever other team, they're cut for a reason. You know, you ain't gonna find your answer this year. If they're trash and you feel like it's time to start looking at another direction for offensive tackle on both sides or one side, you're not gonna find that answer this year. You're just not. You're not. You might as well start scouting now for the draft or find out who's gonna be a free agent for the upcoming season. Maybe you can start locking in on that and whatever. But you're not gonna find a guy from the UFL. You're not gonna find a guy from the cut. You're not gonna find, you're just not gonna do it. You might find some solid guys, and at this point, you might do it. But as for right now, all you have is what's on your roster. In the event of an injury, this is what we have left. These are offensive tackles. Asim Richards, Hakeem and Najee, Ajanai Cornelius, and Matt Walesko. Ladies and gentlemen, not only do they have to step up, Tyler Guyton and Terrance Steele, they got to stay healthy, because other than Asim Richards, who we've seen, and I have confidence in Richards that he can get the job done as a swing tackle. I have confidence in him. But all the rest of these guys, Hakeem, Adeniji, and Ajani Cornelius. I don't even know who these guys are. And then, how in the world does Matt Walesko stay on this team? Can somebody help me with that? How in the world do we keep Matt Walesko on this team? He's supposed to have been cut long time ago, and yet he is again. I don't understand it. I don't understand. We know he ain't good. I ain't gonna never say he trash, because to stay in the league, you got to be doing something right. These are some of the best football players in the world. So even though he don't start, make no mistake about it, he's one of the few people that walks God's green earth that can stay on the roster. You're one of the best players in the entire world if you're on the NFL roster. Whether you play one play or 200 plays, you're one of the best players in the entire world to be on the roster. You're just not as good as some of your teammates are. But make no mistake about it, there's only a few hundred guys that play in the NFL per year. Let me see. Let me do my calculations. There's 32 teams, right? 32 teams. 32 teams times 52, because you got to have a 52-man roster. There's 1,664 players in the league that's on the roster. I ain't even counting the practice squad. So Matt Walesko is one of the best out of, if you're a part of this 1,664 people, you're one of the best to do it. There's plenty of guys that would love to be in that number. But they get cut. They can't play. They go work jobs. As soon as they get cut, they go to the UFL. They go to the CFL. They keep, you know what I'm saying? But please make no mistake about it. If Matt Walesko has been on this team for, good Lord, how many years now? It's got to be at least 6 years, maybe. And for him to stay on this team, we ain't gonna give him no credit because we seen him play. But the fact of the matter is, he's one of the best players in the world. He's on the NFL roster. Got to tip his hat to him. But I don't want to see him play. I know he can't block. I know he can't. I've seen it. Every year we got the same question. How does Matt Walesko still be on this team? How? But he's on it again. Will he be cut this season? I don't know. I don't understand it. But he's there. He's there. So he's on his team, and if somebody get hurt, he automatically moves up. He still may not play even if somebody gets hurt, but he moves up on the depth chart. And if we gonna have an offense and one of our tackles go down, ladies and gentlemen, if we are one of the better offensive lines in the game, we go down a notch. If Tyler Guyton is not there, and if Terrance Steele is not there. And I'm cool again with Hassan Richards because we got tape on him that shows that he can get the job done. We got tape. We do have tape. But if it falls to the hand of any other tackle after that, man, Dak Prescott in trouble. And it also, the real truth of the matter is that if they don't trust Hassan Richards, if they don't trust him, then we're gonna have some major movement inside the line, such as if Tyler Guyton goes down and they don't feel that Hassan Richards, if he getting destroyed, if he comes in and plays like trash, like I don't think he will, but if he does, then there's gonna be some conversation about moving Tyler Smith back out the left tackle. And that's when TJ Bass comes into play. That's when Brock Hoffman comes into play. Because somebody's gonna have to take Tyler Smith guy. If trust me, look, we got too much on the line this year. We ain't got time to be finding out if a guy can get the job done as a swing tackle out. We ain't got time for that. If push comes to shove on the left side, I'm guaranteeing you this year that there's gonna be some conversation. If Richards can't get the job done, there's gonna be some. They ain't gonna let that get killed now. It's not gonna happen. They're gonna talk about moving Tyler Smith back out to left tackle. If Richards can't get it done in the event that somebody get hurt, and then they're gonna move Bass or Hoffman in as left guard. And then I'm gonna say, let's play football, because here's the real truth. A whole lot of us really was swinging the flag of Brock Hoffman being the center anyway, and was saying move BB back to right guard. That's what everybody really was saying. The only reason why he played center because Zach Martin retired. Played. I'm sorry. We didn't draft we didn't draft BB to be a center. We drafted BB to be a guard. And a lot of people said when he got drafted, okay, we found a replacement for Zach Martin. Don't ever forget that. He wasn't drafted as a center. Don't ever forget that. The only reason why he didn't get the right guard is because Zach Martin didn't retire. And then we found out that he could play center real well and that he was effective. And so they said, oh, okay. Well, we know he did it at Kansas State. He can play all this stuff, but we don't leave him as center. We'll just draft a right guard since Zach gone. We'll go ahead and draft Booker. At first, a lot of people was talking about, excuse me, I've lost. At first, a lot of people were talking about BB being right guard. And then you also got to remember that they also, when we drafted Tyler, it wouldn't be new. When we drafted Tyler Guyton, Guyton was a left tackle. He was supposed to replace Tyron Smith until they put him at guard. And then you find out he was dominant at guard, and Tyron Smith at the time was still playing for the Cowboys. So they found out how dominant he was as a guard, so they're just going to leave him there. But he was drafted as a left tackle. The truth be told about Tyler Guyton is, Tyler Guyton was a tackle in college, but he was the right tackle. He was not the left tackle. He was the right tackle. Everybody remember that? So these guys can be moved around, but in case somebody gets hurt, we cannot afford. We cannot afford. Don't like it. We got guys that can play multiple positions, but the goal is to get to your best five. And really, to be honest with you, if you talking about your best five and somebody's hurt, well, if you saying your best five is a Same Richards better than Brock Hoffman? Because see, I think Brock Hoffman is one of my best five once the guys go down. Once one guy go down, I think Brock Hoffman is there. So I ain't saying he's supposed to play tackle because that's not Brock. But I got two guys that can play tackle inside. And I think Brock Hoffman and TJ Bass can come in and be a guard and be just as effective. I believe that. We've seen Hoffman and TJ Bass. I don't think everybody has complaints about them. Not real complaints. They might mess up a play here and there, but you want that type of attitude and moxie on your team. You're not sad if Brock Hoffman is starting. You're not sad if TJ Bass is starting. You're not saying that. So Williams says that does Dak really got to play with like Joe Burrow with a suspect line? What he's saying is, y'all saw, if you watch football last year, Joe Burrow was incredible last year. However, he was running for his life every game because his offensive line was horrible. That's why they said Joe should have been the MVP or should have been there, even with the record that Cincinnati had. Didn't even make the playoffs. And they still saying Joe Burrow should have been a top 2 MVP candidate last year because of what he did. I hope that's not the case with Dak Prescott. I hope that's not. It shouldn't be. But we ain't gonna know that, William, until, unfortunately, what a test. Well, it's really just not one. It's gonna be the first 2 weeks. We'll know a lot of those answers just within the first 2 weeks. You got Philly, who has a nice pass rush. And then, of course, you got the Giants, who I'm figuring Giants are going to be a problem. Between Thibodeau and Abdul Carter and Dexter Lawrence in the middle, that's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. We'll find out real quick how far this line really is, how far ahead they really are. Just within the first 2 weeks, we'll know the answer to those questions very quickly. And then to go back what you said earlier, we'll see if we got to do this 12-man personnel. In other words, have 2 tight ends out there to help out tackle. We'll know all this in the first 2 weeks. This ain't going to last long. We'll find out. We will find out in 2 weeks. One game may not get us. Say, okay, they just had a bad game. Let's see how they do 2 weeks. You get 2 weeks in a row of getting your brains kicked in. Then guess what? As your offensive tackle, that is. Between Smith and, forgive me for not knowing the other guy on the other end for Philly, but they're a problem. And then you got Thibodeau and Abdul Carter and Dexter Lawrence. You will know. I ain't got to wait for a 5-game. I ain't got to wait for no 5-game schedule. I ain't got to wait 5 games or the first quote-unquote quarter of the year. I ain't got to wait for that. I ain't got to wait. I know within the first 2 weeks what this offensive line going to be like. I ain't going to judge just off the Philly game. I need to see him play another pass rush team. Those 2 games will tell me all I need to know. And unfortunately, we ain't going to find out the answers to your question until this thing really get kicked off. It's too late then. You gotta go with what you got. You gotta go with what you got. If they can't block nobody, if they giving up, if they getting beat easily off the edge, then you got to scheme up some things to beat these guys. Because you one-on-one ain't gonna get it done. See, I can already tell you right now. I can tell you right now. I don't want to see Terrance Steele go one-on-one with Thibodeau or Abdul Carter. Because I already know what's gonna happen. I already know. You're gonna have to lay down on these guys. What that mean? You got to run the ball. Let our guys go forward on these guys. Because Abdul Carter, as great as he is, to me, he's still a little light, even if he is 270. Even if he is 270, 275, you need to put that 300 pounds on him consistently. Wear him out. That's the only way you're gonna slow these guys down. You got to put the hat on them. You got to go ahead and put it on there. Hey, Jendalis, yeah, I just said about Asim Richards. I just said it. He's played well last year for us. I believe it. But everybody is going to have a problem with the Giants' pass rush. Everybody. There's just too much speed. Abdul Carter is the truth. Thibodeau is the truth. There'll be a problem if you had two all-pro. If you had two all-pro tackles, they were going to be a problem regardless. So we'll see. That's why I'm saying, I'm just saying it because I heard, who did I hear say that? Was it Orlowski? I heard Ryan Clark say it. I forgot the other guy name. I heard even Bart Scott, believe it or not, say that Cowboys gonna have a real good offensive line, should be one of the top end teams in offensive line play in the year. And I said, what? Bart Scott saying that? Really? So there's a conversation. I heard Moody say it. I even heard LaShawn McCoy say, the line gonna be okay this year. Now, define what okay means. I don't know. I don't know what he's saying there. Well, if LaShawn McCoy is giving the Cowboys any credit, I don't like it, number one. But hey, he knows football. I give him credit for that. He played the game forever, so he knows the offensive line and he see it. Of course, Michael Irvin think the old line gonna be incredible. You know how he is. But Keyshawn Johnson said the same thing. Keyshawn don't give. Keyshawn is a keep it real type guy. So he said they're gonna have one of the better offensive lines. So it's out there that the Cowboys probably are gonna have, a pretty good offensive line. And I'm saying, okay, if you're gonna be top 5, you got to be dominant. And the word dominant and Terrance Steele and Tyler Guyton just don't match for me. When I think of them, I don't think of them as dominant. I think of them as good, but not dominant. See, Tyler Smith is dominant. BB has dominant type traits. Booker, you ain't seen it in the league yet, but we saw it in college. Dominant. That's all he knows. Dominant. And if they're going to be top 5, Tyler Guyton and Terrance Steele got to join that party. They got to join it. They have to join it. If we're going to do what we thinking we capable of doing, they're going to have to join it. If they don't, we still be scoring, but, can y'all move people? Can you run them over? Can we get some pancakes out this thing? Can you take the life out of them when the way Tyler or Booker was saying? Can you make guys hate playing football? for that day? Can you suck the life, or can you suck the energy out of them by beating them up? Can you do that? That's the question. Hey, Coach Breedlove, let's see. Coach said they would be good if our first downs would produce 3 or 4 yards. And I think they can do that easily. Second and long will show their youth. In other words, what Coach is saying is stay out of long distance plays. That's where the penalties usually come in. That's also where a lack of a run game comes in, or a little short pass or whatever. I think the running backs will be very capable of doing that 3 to 4 yards easily, because they're going to have a light box to run in. That's the reason why. I don't think they're going to see a lot of stacked boxes this year because of all the weaponry that's around. I don't think that they're going to see that. So they should get 3 to 4 yards, which make, hey, you know what time it is. Oh, yeah, William. Excellent point. Y'all see what William said there? I highlighted it because this is the truth. That's why I said about Tyler Guyton last year around this time. He said we were knowing camp about our O-line, Parsons, Williams, Fowler, and Donovan. That's what he's talking about. Kid from Boston College. They'll test him. Yeah, you got to baptize these guys. I said the same thing about Guyton. Because when we drafted Tyler Guyton last year, they said it's probably going to be our left tackle. Okay, but then he need to get baptized early. Put Michael Parsons on him. Put DeMarcus Lawrence on him. Put Armstrong on him. And get him up to par as quick as possible. Because he's going to need it, because he's going against who he going against. I said that last year. I'm saying the same thing about him again this year. Put all them boys over there. Let's see what he got. Yeah. And another William. Thank you. You know, everybody want to know if Miles is better. Exactly. Put Booker on him, because Booker going to try to take the life out of him. We'll know what he got real quick, too. We'll also know if Booker is strong as a bull, like everybody's saying, because one thing about Miles, he is strong. See if he get pushed back. Y'all see, training camp gonna answer a lot of stuff. Training camp gonna answer some questions, but I want to see it in a preseason game too. I want to see it for a series or two series in every preseason game. I want, except the last one. I want to see it. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, in other words, and I'm one that believes it. I think the Cowboys, and I've said it, even with me questioning Steele and Guyton, I'm still saying that the Dallas Cowboys offense will be a top 5 offense in this league. I can see us in the top 5 in scoring this year. It's just too much. I could see us scoring 25 a game. I could see us being a top 5 offensive unit in yards combined. I could see that this year. It's just too much. I said that last year. It's too much. It's way too much. So I believe it. I believe that can happen easily. I can see Dak right up there at the top with the quarterbacks with his stats. I can see Lamb getting his usual 1,300 yards, whatever, almost 100 catches. I can see Pickens 75 plus catches. I can see Ferguson with 50 plus. I can see all this. I can see all this. I can see us being a top 5 offense. It ain't no question. But if these two guys on these ends play some good football this year, Tyler Guyton and Terrance Steele, I could also step out and say that the Dallas Cowboys would be the #1 offense in the league this year. If them two guys that play. I can see it. I can see it. No, we don't have to have the #1 rushing offense in the league. But if these guys do what I think they can do, I'll take a top 12 in rushing. I'll take that. I can take that. It'll probably be a little bit higher than that. I can do a top 10 rushing. You don't have to be #1. I could have the Cowboys at number 10, and then I could have them passing, and it ain't because Dak throwing the ball 75 times a game. I'm just saying I could see them being a top 3 in passing this year. I can see it. If I got the number 3, 3 in passing and 10 in rushing, we're going to win a whole lot of football games. If that's the case. Seriously. Beautiful comment right here. That's why we got to be a top offensive line, because with Gandolfus, I believe Gandolfus Pipe. I'm just gonna call you Mr. Pipe. No, I ain't gonna call you that. I'm gonna call him GP. What GP? Well, I'm a fool. What GP just said right there. That's why you got to have a dominant, you got to play dominant, because what he just said right there in the comment is the absolute truth. You got to be able to, if they going to play with a light box and they're not going to stack the box and it's 7-on-7, man, we got to kill. If they don't believe the running game can destroy them, guess what? You got to make that happen. They're not going to let Pickens and Lamb just destroy them over the top. They're not going to let it happen. They're going to try to keep everything closed in. Try to force Dak to throw in the tight window, so you might see a little zone, because they don't respect the run. Guess what? You got to pull them out of that. The only way you're going to do that is with a strong running game. Guess what? He's absolutely right. That all will remain to be seen. That remains to be seen. I think we got enough in the locker room to get that done now. Because look, if you can't run in a 7-man box, something wrong. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. If you cannot run in a 7-man box, something is wrong. That means you're not that good. Not that good. Well, again, I'm going to close it out. Listen, I believe this year we're going to do quite well. I really do. Just because I believe we're going to do quite well does not mean I don't recognize and see some question marks. And when it comes to Guyton and Steele, I got some questions. I'm not as confident and boisterous with them like I am Tyler Smith, Tyler Booker, and BB. I ain't got no questions about those 3. I understand Tyler Booker is a rookie. I don't care. I believe he's going to come out destroying people. I do. I can't say the same thing about Guyton and Steele. I can't. I'm skeptical. And in order for us to be what I think we can be, they're going to have to step up, because they're going to get the shot. I mean, we all know both of them are starting. They're going to have to step up. They ain't got time to be waiting on them. We got to get it. The schedule is demanding physicality and urgency to win. Physicality and urgency. We don't have time this year to be trying to warm up. We ain't got time for that. We got to come out of the gate. If we talking about doing something this year, we got to come out of the gate swinging. Just the truth. All right. Appreciate y'all, man. Listen, thank y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. I'm going to bed now. It's crazy as it may sound. It's only 4:11 here in Memphis. I'm sleepy. I got to do a lot of stuff tomorrow. But the first thing I got to do tomorrow, I have to speak in the morning. Got to preach at another church tomorrow. Powerhouse Church of God in Christ. I have to preach there tomorrow morning for their Men's Day. Excited about that. And then we got a lot of rain going on here in Memphis. And I really was supposed to be cooking today for Memorial Day. But the rain obviously has stopped that. So I think the least I can do is go and start prepping now. And hopefully I'll be able to get out there tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, I get home from church and hopefully be able to cook before Memorial Day. Speaking of that, everybody, I believe mostly everybody has the day off tomorrow. Monday. Y'all enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. If you're not going physically to a church service, I'm quite sure you can go online somewhere. Find your place and you'll have plenty of time to season your meat. Get your charcoals and your gas together just to cook the food. You have plenty of time. You can at least get on and give a little time to the Lord tomorrow. All right? Y'all take it easy. I'm out of here. I appreciate y'all so much. Hit that like button for me as you leave out. Do that for me. Give me about 20 more likes if you don't mind. Everybody personally, you do that for your boy. Hit that like button a few times, and then we'll get on out of here. Till then, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the one and the only, the big time show.